to Crawl Before You Ball, Love, Relationships, and Money. I'm Auntie Buffie, and I love you nieces and nephews so much, and I'm so happy to be a part of the ACAST Pod Network and bring this podcast to you. Now, this is not going to be some boring financial aunties just yelling at you about setting up an IRA. It's going to be fun. We're going to get all in your business, and I'm going to opine about your love life, your money, having kids or not having kids, whatever you want to discuss. Auntie has your back. Now, if you have a question for TT, you can text me CBYB, which is Crawl Before You Ball, to 404-737-1091, and we might just include your question as a part of one of our upcoming shows. All right, so nieces and nephews, buckle up because Auntie is about to get all in your business. All right. So before we get into the fun and the kikiing and the laughter and getting all up in your business, Auntie is going to give you your dose of vegetables today. We have to talk about the stuff that you don't want to talk about, nieces and nephews. Today, we're talking about taxes. Now, when you get married, legally, you're joining your assets together, right? Well, the number one question that I get from my nieces and nephews is when they get married, how should we file our taxes? Some of y'all are out here playing Russian roulette with the Internal Revenue Service, and I am here to stop that madness today. If you are married legally, you should not be filing the following filing statuses: single or head of household. Now, Auntie just said a whole mouthful with head of household that y'all may not understand. But a lot of married couples are out here with a kid there and two kids here. And, I might be breaking the law and claiming my niece or nephew on my taxes to try to get a refund because my sister didn't make any money last year. We're not doing any of that tomfoolery. Head of household is not for married people. That filing status is reserved for single folk who have children that are caring for dependent children. Literally, that is the IRS definition. You care for dependent children of your own. Now, if they're foster children or adopted, or if you do have a circumstance where it's grandma is raising the grandkids, that's different. But y'all know who I'm talking about. Them folk in your family that be acting up and get a little job at the end of the year so they make about $10,000, $12,000 and they claim somebody's kids and get $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $7,000 refund. We ain't doing that. Stop the tomfoolery. And when you're married, the Internal Revenue Service recognizes the following filing statuses: married filing joint, which means you and your spouse file one tax return, a 1040. You click the box for married filing joint and you claim all of your income, all of your assets, all of your interest income, all of your business expenses, all of your itemized deductions together on one tax return. Or you can file married filing separately, where you file your own separate tax returns, and the filing status is married filing separate. A lot of my nieces and nephews think that filing head of house, he filed head of household with one address, and I file head of household or single on another address is filing separately. No, that's a way to go to jail, children. No. Married filing separate is an actual filing status that you check on the tax return on your 1040 that says that you claim your own income and expenses and your spouse claims their own income and expenses. Now, I'm going to go through why you would choose either one in a minute, but there is another filing status for people who are married. If your spouse passed away during the year, you would still file before, like if let's say your spouse passed away in November or December. If it's before the end of the calendar tax year, you would still file that final tax return, either married filing joint or married filing separate, according to how you normally file your taxes. If the next year, if you have dependent children that you care for, the next tax year, you would file the filing status qualifying widow or widower. And it's akin to filing head of household, but better tax deductions. Okay, let's drill down on whether you should file married filing separate or married filing joint. Auntie personally feels like when you first get married, you need to file married filing separate. A lot of y'all ain't gonna wanna hear this from me because married filing joint is actually the more beneficial tax deduction because you get to claim, it's a higher deduction. You get to claim all of your, there's nothing limited by the Internal Revenue Service when you file married filing joint. The reason TT says that you should probably, when you first get married, file married filing separately It's because if you haven't had a full grown conversation with your spouse about their finances and their debts, y'all need to keep that separate in the beginning until y'all figure some stuff out. When I was in practice for over 20 years in my tax practice, I would see all kind of horrible fights breaking out because people would file a married filing joint tax return not knowing that their spouse was delinquent in child support or student loans. And can you imagine if you paid in good money to the government all year and you're expecting a tax refund and you find out from your tax preparer that it got snatched because your ex got a child you didn't know about and some child support somewhere out there in the streets that's been filed against them, or your ex didn't tell you that they haven't been paying their student loans and Uncle Sam or Fannie Mae or Sally Mae or whatever her name is done got the money. Yes, you would be very upset. And so in the beginning, until you guys get everything figured out, everybody's, and really honestly, before you get married, TT wants y'all to be looking at credit reports anyway and figuring all that out. But if you haven't, married filing separate is the way to go. And there are ways when you file a married filing joint tax return that you can protect yourself, but you would need to know if your spouse has these items. So you could file married filing joint and get all the same deductions, the beautiful deductions, because it is the best filing status. And you would need to file what's called an injured spouse form. The injured spouse is the party that does not have the debt. So if Dr. Purcell had a whole bunch of student loan debt that he wasn't paying, and we filed a married filing joint tax return, Auntie would be the injured spouse. And what happens is, if we file a joint return and the IRS takes some of the money from that tax return, they'll only take the money attributed to what Dr. Purcell paid in. They won't touch my money. So there are ways to protect yourself. But in the beginning, I always say file married filing separate. Now, if you both own businesses or one of y'all own a business, file separately. Don't file joint. I don't care that you ain't getting all the tax breaks. File separately. Businesses are complex. Stuff happens. You don't want to join that in with the marriage. File married filing separate. Now, if you have further questions for TT about this subject of married filing separate, married filing joint, qualifying widower, single, head of household, any of the tax filing statuses, hit me up on my community text at 404-737-1091 and make sure to type in CBYB and then write your lovely letter or your text message to TT about your tax situation, and you may be featured on an upcoming episode. Now we're going to get into some fun, and we're going to get into some discussions about money and finances from a couple that actually sent us a question. Let's give a warm welcome to Tracy and Eric. Yay! Hey, how are y'all doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm so happy to have y'all here today. Now, y'all are newlyweds, right? Y'all been married, 17 months?
17 months.
Oh, y'all still honeymooning?
Always.
Tell it. So introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
Go ahead, baby.
Sure. Tracy, I'm originally from New York. I moved to North Carolina to attend law school and started my career here and met my kind countryman and never left. So I've been here now 11 years.
Well, I'm Eric Gaskins. I'm from Durham, North Carolina. Born and raised. I played collegiate football at Wake Forest University.
Yes, Wake Forest.
Yeah, go Deeks. And I met my wife in Durham, and we've been dating and being married ever since.
Yes, y'all are so lovely. My cousin went to Wake Forest. I used to go up there for the game, so I might have seen you. I might have seen you playing. Now, like I said before, you sent TT a question. Now, what's your question, Tracy, for TT?
So, as a married couple, we have learned to meet in the middle on things that, when you're single, you're making independent decisions, but when you're married, you're always thinking about your partner, or at least you should be. And one thing we have been discussing is food budget, because we're actually very different eaters. And I'm a big cook. So, when I first met him, I had this dream that I would get married and always have a beautiful table set with our meals. And my husband will come home and say, "Oh no, I'm good. I ate, before I left for work." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that kind of shifted our meal dynamic. And then I work remote. And so if I don't prep during the weekend, I'm in this cycle of ordering out, us going out to dinner. And so we just want to be better on understanding how to incorporate, right? I don't want to feel guilty if I have to order out one day or, a couple days a week if I'm not going to cook. So we just want to figure out how to fit that into our budget and just do a better job being more intentional about our food spending.
I appreciate your question. It is definitely one that I lecture and talk to my nieces and nephews about all the time, because these meal delivery services are getting rich off my nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
And
They get you.
they
Yeah.
get you. And
Yeah.
it's the convenience of it. And it happened around COVID, where we were like, well, we were like, we don't really have a choice, and we're stuck inside, and we got food at home. Remember what mama said? You got food at home.
Right.
So you ain't got
Right.
no McDonald's money. But listen, I understand, and I live in the real world like you do as well. Now, y'all blessed in that you know how to cook. Eric, can you cook?
No, not at all.
I can't
I
boil
clean the
water.
kitchen. I clean up.
Yeah, he's an excellent cleaner.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it balances out.
Yeah. I'm good at heating up some food. I like to go and purchase food that I can heat up for a meal. My husband is an excellent cook, chef as well. But again, as busy professionals, that's just not realistic sometimes. And I appreciate that you're saying you don't want to feel guilty, but you know that it's going to happen. And so budgets are freedom. And so what you need to do is put together a meal budget. You need to be realistic and say, look, on Sunday, Eric, you're going to clean these dishes after I meal prep and make up 3-4 meals for us for the week that we're going to pop in the oven. One of me, since I'm home, I'll set my alarm. I'm going to pop it in the oven. And that means your behind ain't going to get nothing to eat on the way home, Eric. Right. We're going to eat this food at the house. And so we're going to meal prep on Saturday. And you're going to clean up the kitchen. I'll prepare the meals, or we can do it together. And then we're going to know that 3 of the days of the week, I ain't really going to be feeling it. You're not going to feel it. And we're going to allow ourselves grace. And we're going to budget for those days too. Either, Eric, if you're working late and you just want to pick some up on the way home, that's fine, as long as we've discussed it beforehand. And so I can plan accordingly as well. Or like my husband and I, we like to say on the weekends, ain't nobody cooking. We ain't doing that. We tired. We done worked all week. So we already know on the weekends we ordering out. And so we budget for that. And then you don't have the guilt associated with it, because you've put it in your budget and you've stuck to it.
Gotcha.
Right.
It's discipline.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest thing also.
Yeah. It's just discipline. And don't beat yourself up. I mean, we're busy professionals. You do what you have to do. But I feel like when you have and don't say what day it is you're going to do that. Just say 3 of the days or 2 of the days during the week, we have the autonomy to decide that I'm not going to pop that meal in the oven. We're going to order out. Today was tough at work. I don't even feel like heating up food. Give yourself the room and bandwidth to be able to make that decision, and just be communicative together as a couple. Because remember, you're married now. You ain't roommates.
Right.
You're married now. You ain't roommates. Now, I heard y'all have some other questions for me. I want Eric to ask me the next question. What other questions y'all have for me?
Well, a lot of our friends and family are asking us about kids.
17 months in? They ain't even let y'all honeymoon yet. Now.
Yeah.
And I'm 39 and Tracy's 38, so I know it's getting pushing to the point. But I just try to explain to people, we just enjoying each other.
Right.
And the kids come, that's a blessing. But I'd rather be with Tracy than be with somebody that I have 10 kids with and not in love with.
Periods.
So.
And I think for me, when I used to talk to friends who were newly married, who talked about the pressures of having kids, I was like, oh, I don't feel that. I don't think I will feel that. And we understand that your friends and family are just excited for you. And in their mind, the next step are kids. But it does put pressure. And it's a pressure that I think is affecting me more than I care to admit. So I think the question for us is, how do you respond to that, right? Because we don't want to be rude. We understand that our family and friends are excited for us, but I also don't want to feel the pressure to do that until we're ready to do it.
And also, I don't think they're saying in a negative way. We
Right.
just have so much support
Yeah.
and love.
Yeah, people are excited.
And they ready to see us with another chapter in our life and some little big E's running around here. And, so I don't take it as a malice way. I just think, you know, it's on us. But I appreciate the support and love, because we could be complaining about why nobody's interested in our life,
Right.
or our relationship.
Right.
So it's a balance. It's a balance.
Right. No, I appreciate the kindness and the empathy that you showing to nosy people. Because Auntie would be like, it ain't none of your damn business. But I can tell that y'all are kind, gentle souls. And you know what? We need y'all in this world, and lead with that. Be yourself. There is nothing wrong with you saying to people that, you know, that is a personal topic between my husband or my wife and myself. And that is not something that at this time we would like to discuss with anyone. And even if you wanted to go into more detail, you could say, you know, we could be trying, but we wouldn't want to tell anybody that, because you want to wait until appropriate times before you disclose that information. And you just determine, you know, if it's your mama, obviously, you know, you got to do it a certain way, the way you're going to say it. But if it's some nosy cousin and whatever, you know, one of these things I learned from my therapist recently is called mid-chill. It's where you don't really give an answer or commit to a statement or question that somebody asks you. So when somebody asks you that, you can be like, well, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe we'll discuss it later. Like, you don't really add into it and you don't take away, so they can keep, you know, you give them a filler kind of answer. And so they can't then take it to another step. Or you could ask them some of their business. You know, if you got some ideas for something, you could ask them, Eric.
Yeah, sometimes, sometimes, like you said, those questions are personal.
Right.
And sometimes I'll be like, well, when you going to buy a house? Because I know that might strike a nerve.
Amen.
Then they look at it like, all right, I need to stay out their business. I need to stay in my lane.
Right. And I think people don't understand how really personal that is to ask someone about when are you going to have a kid. It's so personal, because like in my case, I can't have kids. Right. And so like, you know, it brings up all these anxieties and worries and self-doubt and all that. It's just like, it's amazing that people really don't think out that before they ask somebody that question. It's just like asking somebody, are you pregnant? It's equivalent. Don't ask. We will share when we are ready. And listen, go ahead.
No, sorry to cut you off. I was just saying, and at our ages too, like I'm 38, Eric's 39. I think it just, I'm shocked at the pressure I do feel, right? I thought I was at a phase in my life where I wouldn't be pressured by people or people say or think. So this is just I think a shock to my nervous system. Mm-hmm. And I think you're right. It's just, you don't know what a woman or couple is going through. So I understand the excitement, but I do think people need to be more mindful. And I'm talking to self, because I know for sure when I was single or younger and friends were married, I'm sure I asked this question too. But you just, once you're in it, I guess you get more empathy and grace for the fact that it could trigger or elicit feelings that you didn't even know you had, the more people ask you.
Mm-hmm. And also, I believe a lot of men don't know what the women go through with their body. Women go through a lot. And I didn't know till I started dating Tracy, and engagement and marriage. I'm like, wow, like everybody can't have kids. Mm-hmm. And that's all right. You know what I'm saying? But people got to understand what women go through with their body. And it's a lot.
It is a lot. You are absolutely right. You got a good man, girl. You got a good man, lady. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Just like Tracy Ellis Ross just said. She said, us childless women like myself, you know, we still aunties to everybody in the world. And so there's a place for us. And so I want you to, you know, put that pressure back on them. Take it off your back. You enjoy your man. You enjoy your wife. And enjoy this new time. Y'all just got married. Enjoy each other. And like you said, what God has for us is going to come. It'll come. Right? And together y'all can handle anything. So, you know, you determine, you know what spirit to get them people back with the way in which they ask you that question. And feel free to do so, because it is a really personal, invasive, inappropriate question for folk just be asking folk all the time and trying to pressure you with. Now, y'all are newlyweds. I want to know, have y'all done the ceremonial joining of bank accounts yet?
So
we have
hybrid style.
Yeah,
okay. What's a hybrid now?
I think we need to be more disciplined with it.
So we opened an account. So that's
a joint account. Okay.
We opened a joint account. We have our separate accounts. But what we have not done is been disciplined to put all the bill money in one account. And I'm going to take accountability for that, because the way I was raised, you manually pay all your bills, right? Like you don't. So I'm struggling with automation, whereas my husband is automated. He knows when mortgage coming out, HOA, you know, so those things are taken care of on his end. But me, if it's the light bill, I'm manually going in. I think just last month I automated our internet bill, and I felt proud of myself. It's just, we have to be focused on actually having a plan in place to make sure all our bills, like I want to get to the point where we know our bills are being paid out of that account. We don't have to look at it, you know, we'll check in, you know, periodically, but we need to do a better job.
Correct.
So a way for you, and I really appreciate and love that you were saying the automation is difficult, because it actually, Tracy, is difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people grew up with their parents living paycheck to paycheck, and not having the freedom of automation, where a direct deposit is going somewhere and the money can just come out. Folks making it work as best they can. And quite honestly, in the economy right now, a lot of people are facing that. And so I can definitely understand your anxiety associated with that. But I will say this again, budgeting is key. And so with your direct deposit from work, all you do is, you know what that light bill might be every month, or what that insurance payment is, or what you definitely know what the mortgage is. You just have that amount taken out of whichever check and put into that account. And set up the automation and don't worry about it. And then you budget for what you're going to add to your personal accounts. I'm glad that you both kept your own checking accounts, because that is important. Just because you're married doesn't mean that you're not still an individual, and that you still want to maybe buy your spouse a gift and they not know about it, or, you know, have your own things that you want to plan and grow for. And so, you know, just because you're married don't mean that you don't, you know, have individual goals and wants. Just, you know, discuss, you know, with your wife or your husband what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with still having your own personal checking account and having a joint account. In my household, it's the same way. We have a joint marital account, and I contribute what I'm going to contribute to it. My husband contributes what he's going to contribute to it, and all the bills are debited from that account. And bills are savings.
Correct.
Right.
Number one. It ain't just the house and the mortgage and the insurance and all that. You need to pay yourself first. Right. And obviously, I know out of your own personal business, you know, or your own personal at work, you're probably doing 401k or 403b, or, you know, all of that, and maxing it out. Messing it out. Especially if you're getting matching. But you can do some stuff together as a couple, like an IRA, or, you know, do a robo-investor account, or whatever you determine that you want to do as part of your investment planning, and have that money come out of that joint account. And just, you know, I would say that first check of the month, just go on and take that money out and put it in that joint account, and enjoy the freedom of automation, Tracy. Right. I know it's going to take a while, but enjoy the freedom. And half the battle is over. Your partner is somebody that's used to it. It ain't new to it. So, you know, just get used to that. And it really does make life it makes it less stressful to be worried about, at the last minute, I forgot to pay this. It helps with your credit, because you ain't worried. It's always going to be paid on time. And then, you know, I took care of that with the first check of the month. The second one, I can do X, Y, and Z with. Or if you need something from the second check, you know, with your direct deposit, you can set up, I want this to go to this account. I want this to go to that account. And just, you know, embrace, you young, baby, embrace this new technology. You know, grandmother used to have to use envelopes where we would put the cash in, this the grocery money, this money, this, and put it on the fireplace.
Right.
It's the same concept. It's just with automation.
Just different, a
It's
little
just
different.
Just a little different.
It's very true. And growing up in church, I learned this acronym for fear is false evidence appearing real. And I've been so fearful of automation, and this might seem silly, but it didn't dawn on me that when you automate your bills, you can select the bill date,
Yep.
right? In my mind, automation meant, okay, it's going to be automated, but all my bills are going to have different dates. And I was like, no, it was simply because something that is so simple just scared me, right? And you're right. It's because growing up, you knew kind of what you had. You didn't want your account to be negative, and so I, in this phase of my own adulthood, am realizing that I don't have to do things the way I was raised, right? And to your point, the autonomy, which I consider a blessing, right? So I'm
Yes.
unlearning things that we did in survival. My mom made sure I was able to go to private school and activities, and she sacrificed a lot. And even with kids, I had a friend say to me that, you have a helpmate, right?
Yes.
You have a partner who wants to raise children with you. You have, you guys have a different lifestyle. So it's just really unlearning what you've learned. And so shout out to our parents, but
Correct.
it's an honor and privilege that we can do different. So I have to you just have to unlearn things
And enjoy.
and
Because you
enjoy.
deserve.
Yeah. And I beat myself up a lot. I do. Um, and I have to also unlearn that because feeling like life is great, you're always I've convinced myself I'm waiting for the shoe to drop, other shoe to drop. And I don't know where that's come from, right? I don't know where that's come from. So that's something therapy.
Right. Which we all should be in.
Right.
Yeah,
But I
correct.
need to just be happy and peaceful with where I am in life because life's going to happen anyway, right? So why have anxiety about what's going to happen next because life is good? I need to fully embrace that.
You do. And don't beat yourself up for having anxiety because that's natural. And plus, we have friends who are always complaining to us about the shoe dropping in their life. And we project that on ourselves when really at your house it's a fairy tale. And that's okay, baby. It's okay. It's okay. Just because it's a nightmare on Elm Street or somebody else's house doesn't mean that that's going to happen in yours.
Correct.
Yeah.
And don't let that spirit of negativity enter your household. You can be there for your friends, but sometimes you got to block that. Sometimes you got to say, you know what? I'm not in a place today to hear that.
Fairy tale guilt. That's what I'm gonna name
That's
it.
what it is.
I like that.
That's what
good.
it is. That's
And,
what it is.
and she gonna be good. 'Cause I tell her we're in a good place. A lot of people wish they was in our shoes.
Right.
And things is gonna happen. Hiccups gonna happen. You just gotta be prepared for it.
Right.
Financially, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. You just gotta be prepared for it.
And do it together.
Yes. And like when we've gotten engaged, we start renting out the property I bought before we got married. Things was happening and the rent and the tenants and stuff. I'm like, that's going to happen. That's part of the game. But we're going to be all right. We're going to get through it. And we're not going to sell the house.
No, we never sell property. We keep property always. We never sell. They ain't making no more land. That's what my grandma says.
Right.
But why you ready to get rid of some?
Yeah, he's definitely my calm. I thought I was a go with the flow person, and I am in certain areas, but I think subconsciously I'm go with the flow if I know I have a little bit of control. And something in my devotionals I've been doing in the morning is God is like, no, I'm in control, right?
Yep.
And so my husband being able to be the calm, he's like, things are going to work out. And I'm looking at that, he loves his project. So he'll renovate our bathroom a week before companies come in. And I'm like, Eric, look, I'm freaking out. And we do this every single time. He's like, baby, it's going to be fine. Right. And surely enough, this thing is being put in when our guests are coming through the door.
They'll be all right.
But they didn't see it. We saw it. They didn't see it. We good.
Yeah. So he has just talking about unlearning, right? And actually, to be quite honest, being in a safe space as a woman, I think I have spent years being unsafe.
Yes.
And I don't know, I'm getting emotional, but
because it's real. You being real.
Yeah, that's the only way we know how to be. But he's provided me a safe space. And so I think I'm finally just entering that. We've been together almost 5 years. And I think I'm finally like, I'm safe, And so you just unlearn a lot of things. And so if anyone takes anything away from us, it's, you unlearn and you grow together and you build together. And it's a process. It doesn't
It
happen overnight.
is. It's a process, and we are all a work in progress.
Yeah.
And conversations, meaningful conversations like we've had today, they will help other couples. They will help other people, and they will see themselves in you guys, and they will learn from what we've discussed today. So I thank you so much for being so open and honest and willing to share with everyone. Now, where can we find y'all on social media?
So, is your page private?
My page y'all private people.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, I just heard.
I do have a food page that talking about fear. I've had it for years and it's kind of stalled. The Right Eats, WRIGHTEATS, and Eric is E-Gas Money Bags.
Oh, I love it. Yes, we love all things coins that wire.
Exactly. But stepping out of my comfort zone, I will be more public facing, but that's what people can find us for now.
Well, thank y'all both so much. And the last bit of advice that I will give you both is enjoy this time. Enjoy each other.
Yes.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't go to bed mad with each other. Go on and fight it out before you go to bed. Y'all gonna get in arguments, honey. I've been married 20 years, been with my man 25. TT knows. Don't go to bed mad. That old adage is 100% true. And ain't nobody sleeping on no couch. We sleeping in the same marital bed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Ain't nobody going to no couch because that creates dissension. We sleeping together. You can be mad all you want to kick me and pull the covers, but we sleeping in the same bed tonight. Okay.
That's right.
I have one more question, Mommy asking. How do you and your husband balance of living in today, but also being financial and making moves and take care of things for down the line of 20 years, 25 years? Because I think a lot of couples get caught up on living in today. And, we're going to get old.
Right.
And we want to be able to be stable when we old also.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a balance. It's a sacrifice of, sometimes we can't put this money on this trip.
Mm-hmm.
We can add that to retirement or knock down the interest rates on the homes that we own so we can save on that. So how do you balance that with discipline and mental?
So it's so funny that you asked this question because I cover this topic in my book, Crawl Before You Fall.
Okay.
I actually really do. I share a story about when I first got married. My husband is a physician, and I'll say it briefly, but I thought, I'm a doctor's wife, child. I got to do the most. And we used to have this big party every year, and I was spending $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000. This was like 15 years ago on this holiday party every year, and then crying the next month when I was looking at my credit card statement and had to pay it. And so we sat down and we looked at our budget and we were like, because I was like, I got to have the biggest this and that. The whole society says you should have this because, you got a successful accounting practice and he's a doctor and it should look this way. And we said, you know what? To hell with all that. We're not doing that. We have goals. We don't want to work forever. I retired from working, and that's why I can do fun activities like this and feel like I give back 5 years ago. And I was able to do that because we crawled for 5 years where we said we ain't going on no trips. We're not giving each other gifts. We're not Christmas. We're setting a limit for family members, but Buffy and Dave aren't giving each other presents.
Yeah. Gotcha.
The present we giving each other is putting money up. So we ain't got to work forever.
Correct.
And we did this for 5 years, and I talk about it. I detail it all the way and the ups and downs and difficulties associated with it. But baby, I was able to retire when I was 41 years old.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
my husband will be retiring in 5 years.
Yeah. Fantastic.
And then we're going to buy a farm and go chill. And so it's discipline. Like you said, Eric, it's discipline. It's shutting out the noise, not listening to everybody telling you what you should do and how you should. Everybody love to spend our money, don't they? They love to be like, well, you a lawyer, you a this, y'all should have. They love to spend our money, but they ain't contributed nothing. You got to just block all that out and think about what the two of you want.
Correct.
And plan and stay laser focused and don't allow anybody to disrupt that at all.
Correct.
Because then you will have the freedom like me where I get up when the sun comes up.
Right.
When I want to, like when the sun wakes me up, not because I gotta go work at some job. And everybody tries to act like you want to be booked and busy. That's a lie. Don't fall for that.
Yeah.
People want to be able to do what they want to do. Time is the most valuable asset in this world, not money.
Autonomy. That's our goal. Autonomy.
Right.
And you hit on something. Last Christmas with our family, we did Secret Santas. So you only had to buy gifts for one person.
We do it in ours.
Yeah, because we have like our parents are retired, we're working. My sister-in-law is back in school, and we had an honest family conversation. Like, we don't need anything. Right. Like, if you want to do something kind, pick a name out of a hat. Everyone had to put 3 gifts that they wanted under $100.
Yep.
And you picked 1 or 3, whatever your budget was. And you could actually feel the lightness in the air.
Yes, yeah.
I felt it. It felt very different because it took the pressures off the gifts.
Yeah.
And it put it back on the family.
Yeah.
And so this year we're going to spend Christmas at the beach with our family. And we're even toying with, do we want to do gifts?
No, because we're paying for the beach.
We're paying for the beach.
Right.
That's
the experience more.
Yeah. And so you were spot on, where it's just like, in your marriage, you have to do what's best for you and your family and not what's best for the Joneses, because you don't know the Joneses, right? And they're probably broke.
Trust me, they are. I know they used to be my tax clients. They ain't got no damn money.
Exactly. And so I do feel freedom, and I'm proud of us that we starting to set that standard with our family. I am excited.
Yeah.
This is a great conversation, and it's good to have a reset.
Yeah, you gotta enjoy the process.
Yes. Well, thank y'all so much. Y'all have been so fantastic. I really appreciate your time today. And if you ever have another question for Auntie, you know where to hit me up. Text me.
So nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you both as well.
All right, Auntie Buffie, you know we have some nieces and nephews that need your advice.
Okay.
Dear Auntie Buffie, I'm a single mom in my 40s and my son is 3 years old. He's an only child and I've been single for almost 2 years. I'm currently dating and there's one man in particular that I'm very interested in. We've been dating for about 5 months and he's ready to call me his girlfriend. He also wants to meet my son and I keep saying no. There are 2 reasons why I keep saying no. Number 1, my son has only seen me with his father. And number 2, I don't want my son to get too attached to a man that I'm dating, because you never know. I'm a woman of God, so I believe fear is never a good thing. So should I keep the faith and put my guard down and allow my boyfriend to meet my son? What should I do?
Thank you for your question, darling. And honestly, Auntie appreciates the fact that you have anxiety about bringing a man around your child. Far too many times I see my nieces bringing everybody that somebody met an hour ago around their children. And as a woman of God, you understand that we have to be careful what type of spirits we bring around our children and in our homes. And if y'all haven't got to the phase of him calling you the girlfriend yet, I don't think he need to meet no child yet. I think we need to solidify our relationship a little bit more. And you need to no longer feel the anxiety that you feel about bringing him around your son. I think we need to listen to our intuition. I don't think we need to believe that is fear. I think that's our body and spirit guiding us. And it may not be time, and it may not, it doesn't matter as much about his feelings as it does your son's, and preparing him for this new chapter in your life. So a lot of change involved in when your parents are no longer together and you're used to seeing a man around your mother in this capacity, and that be your father, to introduce somebody else into that mix. And so if this relationship is going to stick, then this man that you have been dating for now 5 months should understand that this is a process and that he is going to have to be patient and wait until you feel comfortable to bring him around your child. I honestly, I never understand why some of my nieces bringing Tom, Dick, Harry, Charles, and being around their kids after just meeting them. And you don't know these folks, and maybe they're great people, but you have to think about what's best for your child, what's best for you, and what's best for your life. and they'll be okay. Thank you for your question, darling.
Now, this next question, Auntie Buffie, is from your Crawl Before You Ball text community. Your niece wants to know whether you have $40,000 in assets or $4 million in assets before marriage. Should you always get a prenuptial agreement?
Woo, yes. The answer is yes. Auntie believes in a prenup. I gave Uncle Dave one. He loves to tell people that. People think because he a white doctor that he might have gave me one. Nope. Lies. TT presented him one right after he proposed. And baby, he gave me a lovely ring, a lovely trinket. But I owned several businesses. He was still a resident. Even though he comes from a family with coin, it doesn't matter. A lot of people think that when you have a prenuptial agreement, it's all about, oh, I just want to protect my assets and the other person doesn't have anything. For Auntie, it was more about Auntie crazy. And if he try me the wrong way in a marriage after I done joined my life with him and do something crazy, I'm liable to get in some trouble. Like in my book, the chapter where I talk about the boyfriend that I bought the car for, and then I caught him on the street driving my car with some other woman in it. Auntie can't do that no more. She's a woman of a certain age and certain assets. And so I needed to have a prenuptial agreement so it states what happens in the event that our marriage is dissolved. And so I don't really think it depends on how much money you have. I think a lot of y'all think you don't have anything. $40,000 a year is good money if you live in a certain place and you live under your means and are saving and are comfortable. It does. You don't need to have $4 million or $4 trillion to plan for your future, to make sure that you don't have unnecessary drama should your marriage dissolve. And let's be honest, 60% of marriages fail? So honestly, all it is just good planning. And yes, it's not sexy to hand somebody a prenuptial agreement, but who cares? It's also not sexy to be slashing up somebody's tires and breaking their windows out because they done something crazy with your coin with somebody of the other sex. So yes, TC believes in a prenuptial agreement. And if you are already married, if you can, a postnuptial agreement. And if you have a question, please text CBYB, which is Crawl Before You Ball, to 404-737-1091, and TC might just feature your question in an upcoming episode. Everything is anonymous, so don't worry, I ain't gonna tell your spouse on you. So y'all done got Auntie all the way messed up with this Cheesecake Factory mess. Yes, I've seen all these viral videos where y'all out here complaining, nieces mostly, about somebody taking you on a date to the darn Cheesecake Factory. Have you lost your mind? What's wrong with the Cheesecake Factory? Since when are we too good to go somewhere with a delicious menu, with fantastic food and quality service and amazing cocktails? What is your problem? Y'all don't see this what's happening. Nieces. And I'm going to say nieces because that's who I see on social media running their mouth about the Cheesecake Factory. I think I saw some viral video where some young lady was like, I can't believe he took me to the Cheesecake Factory and had on a darn dress from Shein. Girl, stop. Everybody's at a different place in their life financially. And if a young man invites you out, or a young woman, or they invite your behind out on a date, and they care enough to take you to a sit-down restaurant, what's wrong with that? I think some of y'all have really unrealistic expectations for dating in 2024. How many billionaires are there in the world, y'all? Not many. And so why are you putting these expectations on these people that you're trying to date? Most people don't make $1 billion a year. Most people don't make $1 million a year. Most people don't make $100,000 a year. And you want them to date you with a budget of living outside their means? Would this be somebody that you want to marry that is fronting and flogging and playing games with the Instagramification of life to woo you? And then you find out later, they really don't have what they purported that they had because they took me to that 5-star restaurant on the first date, or that 3 Michelin star restaurant. And now all of a sudden we've gotten into this relationship and he can't even pay his bills and is moving in with me. I really appreciate you just to tell me what the real deal is from the beginning and let me make my decision. I'm old school. I like a man to take me on a darn picnic. Because if I want to go to an expensive restaurant, I can pay for it myself. That ain't what it's about. Dating is about learning about each other. And why would you want to start a date off with a lie because somebody's trying to live up to what you want to post on Instagram. That's ridiculous. And let me just tell you something else, nieces. Let me warn you. Some of y'all think y'all want this soft life. Some of y'all think y'all want these men to pay all the bills for you and take care of you. But you don't understand what comes along with that. Sometimes there are strings in that you're going to jump when I say jump and ask me how high. You're going to drop everything and be there for me when I need you because I'm paying for everything. Who cares what you want? It's what I want because I'm paying for everything. And so you might want to rethink that gold digger mentality, because it may not serve you the way that you think it will in the end. Being flued out is cute. Flued. Try to be young. I know it's flown. But anyway, being flued out comes with expectations, right? That you may not want to fulfill. So I would rather you take me on over for a wholesome meal at a Cheesecake Factory so we can get to know each other and not break the bank. Be realistic. Quit trying to be Beyonce and Rihanna and all these other people because you ain't got no $1 billion. And that's okay. It's okay, because it's drama that come with having all that money too that you ain't ready for. Be real, be authentic, be yourself. And Auntie won't have to fuss at you like I just did and get you all the way together. Okay. Give these guys or women or theys a darn break. Try to get to know people when you're dating and quit trying to front and flourish for social media. All right, nieces and nephews, it's time for Auntie's assignment. We learned today some very important things that I want you to incorporate into your life. Namely, budgeting is freedom. People think budgets limit you from things. They don't. They tell you what you can do. Just like a prenuptial agreement tells you what you can do and what you can't do. Having things spelled out and adhering to that every month with a budget keeps you sane and offers you peace of mind. And when you're in a couple, you need to do that together and work toward that same goal together. We introduced the topic of fairy tale guilt today, and it's very real. Don't allow somebody else's situation to mess up what you got going on at home. You need to live in the moment and appreciate and live in the spirit of gratitude for what you've been given. And if you don't have the bandwidth to give advice to your friends, your girlfriends with all their drama, it's okay to tell them, you know what, today I don't have the capacity. Maybe tomorrow I will. And if they're your real friend, they'll understand. Because you need to keep the positivity going in your household. We learned about taxes today. When you married, you join together legally. But there are times where you need to file married filing joint or married filing separate. Never do we file as a married couple. What? Single or head of household. Stop doing that mess. Okay? I don't want to hear about y'all getting locked up with the IRS because of that. You know, they do have a criminal division and they have badges, and they will come all the way to your place of business or your home with their badge and get you all the way locked up behind some earned income credit tax fraud, claiming other people's children. And lastly, I want you to enjoy your relationship, y'all. Live for today. Don't let anxiety and fear cloud your judgment. Be happy, live in the moment, and plan for your future. If you have a question for Auntie, text CBYB, which is Crawl Before You Ball, to 404-737-1091. And I promise I may feature your question in an upcoming episode. And sometimes when I'm bored, I answer the questions anyway in the text group. So hit your auntie up. I got you. And if you are ready to crawl before you ball, and I know you are, grab a copy of TT's book. The link is found below. Smooches.